This is precisely why I emphasize the importance of developing soul resonance between you and Vikir. The union failed because you two are out of sync. Are you even paying
Since I have
attention?
to hear this
That's it.
AI of
I
mine
don't
vent
want to
from
be
what
trapped here if
transpired
something
in this
happens to
exam,
you.
if you could hit
This
that
is
subscribe
exactly
button
why
to
I
help
was
the channel and
reluctant to leave
enjoy,
his body.
damn how
I knew
deep
you
is
would do
this effing
something like
cave.
this.
The dimly lit cave seemed to stretch far beyond my initial expectations, with its dark depths suggesting a vast expanse. As I navigated the shadowy passages, I couldn't help but notice veins of ruby minerals scattered throughout, hinting at a possible connection to the nearby Redall Mountain. My curiosity was piqued. Suddenly, a glimmer of light broke through the pervasive darkness, inviting me to explore further into the dungeon. Eager to uncover its hidden secrets, I quickened my pace, eventually finding myself standing in a chamber bathed in brilliant illumination. My eyes slowly adjusted, revealing an enormous ruby perched atop a central pillar. Its radiant beauty was truly captivating. However, my moment of awe was interrupted by the silent witness of a nearby skeleton. This unfortunate soul had met a violent end here long ago, and their remains were a somber testament to the perils of this place. Intrigued, I picked up a letter that lay beside the skeletal remains. Its author, a certain Cain, introduced himself while explaining his reluctance to defile the pure white paper with his name. The letter told a harrowing tale of two brothers, Cain and Abel, who had stumbled upon a legendary stone chamber, a relic that had been passed down through generations of their family. Their journey had led them through countless trials, culminating in a final challenge that had held them captive for 3 long years. The sacrifice they had made was indeed beyond comprehension. Turning my attention back to the magnificent ruby at the chamber's heart, I couldn't help but be intrigued by the riddle inscribed on a nearby monument. When entering, it's 1, but once inside, it's 2. When leaving, it's 1. The enigma confounded me, but I remembered from the letter that Cain and Abel had wrestled with the very same puzzle. The letter recounted that the two brothers had contemplated the cryptic text for an extended period before reaching a conclusion. According to the letter, Cain had revealed that he and Abel were twins, separated at birth. To claim the treasure hidden within the dungeon, they had to become one once more, suggesting that only one of them could leave with the coveted prize. This revelation had led to a fierce battle in which Cain had taken the life of his own brother. However, their situation had remained unchanged. Although they had transitioned from 2 to 1, Cain still couldn't obtain the treasure. Filled with regret, he had chosen to leave the site and caution others against entering this devil's den, designed to taunt and test the limits of human nature.
If you allow me, I can input this riddle into my system and, through analysis, generate a possible answer.
Oh, by all means, feel free to take your sweet time. We wouldn't want to rush through this or anything.
The riddle goes, when entering, it's 1, but once inside, it's 2. When leaving, it's 1. My analysis suggests that when you first enter a dark passageway, you're 1, but as soon as the ruby's light creates a shadow, you become 2. And when darkness returns, you become 1 again, signaling the opening of the final stage in the stone chamber.
I confidently raised my hand, shattering the magnificent ruby at the chamber's center. A blinding burst of light filled the room, unveiling the long-hidden treasure concealed within. My eyes widened with amazement as I gazed upon the object that had cost 2 brothers their lives. Before me lay a sinister-looking sword, exuding an aura of malevolence, as I couldn't help but wonder if this was indeed the relic of the Devil's Den. Drawing nearer to the sword, I examined it with great interest. My gaze fell upon the text inscribed on the stone surface beneath it, a declaration that sent a shock through my being. Only those with Baskerville's blood coursing through their veins were worthy to claim this sword, aptly named Beelzebub. It was a revelation that left me utterly astonished.
Master, you might not be able to contemplate the significance of this discovery, but Beelzebub is a name rooted in the legends of old. It was a monstrous entity of unparalleled might that had once invaded the continent. Beelzebub was a part of the Devil's holy constellation, known as the 7 Calamities, and had been a formidable foe for the heads of the Baskerville family.
So, this thing was part of the Devil's holy constellation, known as the 7 Calamities, and the sword before me was proof of that the first Baskerville patriarch defeated Beelzebub, and had the remnants of its power, was stored within the lands of Baskerville. My thoughts raced as I remembered that the blade had been taken by the demon clans, leading to countless human deaths on the battlefield. Attempting to pull the sword free, I declared that it would never fall into the hands of the demon clans again.
Warning.
Suddenly, I felt an energy coursing into my hand, and I exclaimed in surprise. I gripped the hilt firmly, and the sword Beelzebub vanished from sight. Moments later, it reappeared, fully fused with my hand. This situation was spiraling far beyond what I had anticipated. I was accustomed to Data being my constant companion. Yet, Vikir had taken on a more prominent role than merely being a memory and power source. Now, I found myself burdened with the haunting presence of a demon's echo within my mind. If I began to teeter on the brink of madness, my dear viewers, be prepared to witness a shift from DC's Joker to something akin to Deadpool, or perhaps a descent into a state of absolute lunacy, as if I had become truly cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Extending my hand, I summoned Beelzebub, which emerged from it, emitting a faint aura. I gazed at the blade with wonder, fully aware that it was crafted from the corpse of a devil's holy constellation. I decided it was time to return. Yet, as I left the dungeon, something strange began happening to my body. I dropped to my knees, feeling dizzy and ravenously hungry. I heard Beelzebub's voice resonating within me. It dawned on me that it wasn't I who was hungry, but the sword itself. Beelzebub began tugging at my hand, directing me to follow it in a particular direction. Curious about what lay ahead, I discovered it was the corpse of the hellhound I had slain earlier. I was surprised to find that Beelzebub was drawn to the hellhound's remains and extended the sword toward it. I watched as Beelzebub absorbed the blood of the hellhound, finished its meal, making a satisfied sound. I observed as the sword's hunger was finally sated, and I took the opportunity to examine its abilities. Burn, Injury Cerberus, Hemorrhage Hellhound, and High-Speed Regeneration Norvegicus Sewer Rat. I was surprised to find the high-speed regeneration ability. The other young hounds who had completed their practical examinations returned to Baskerville. As the evaluations concluded, they received their rewards: shields, swords, or necklaces crafted from the parts of the monsters they had hunted during their exams. Hugo sat in his office, wearing a surprised expression as he directed a question to his head butler, inquiring about the successful monster hunt. The head butler responded, detailing how I had managed to capture the Cerberus that had, accidentally, entered the restricted area during the practical exam. Hugo, taken aback, couldn't fathom how a young hound had taken down a monster that even the Guardian Knights hesitated to confront. The head butler continued to narrate the incident, explaining the condition of the Cerberus's corpse. Intrigued by the details, Hugo expressed his interest in the matter, but the head butler could only provide information based on the entries in the hunting journal. Planning to inquire further from me, Hugo learned that I had already returned to my dormitory. Amused by my swift actions, he commented on my cunning nature, acknowledging the value of information as a form of power. The head butler, still astonished, voiced his surprise at the remarkable talents displayed by a hound named Van. Not adhering to the traditional naming conventions of Le or La, Hugo, known for his belief in talent over lineage, reiterated his stance on raising hounds based on their abilities rather than their bloodline. To shift the atmosphere, the head butler summoned me to stand before Patriarch Hugo, who, maintaining composure, inquired about the successful Cerberus hunt during the practical exam. In response, I calmly explained my strategy, revealing the use of chocolate on my wooden spear as a lethal poison for canine monsters. This revelation surprised Hugo, prompting him to realize the purpose behind my earlier request for chocolate. Hugo inquired why I hadn't given a proper response when the head butler questioned me about the Cerberus hunt. I straightforwardly stated that the butler was not my master. When Hugo pressed about who my master was, I asserted that belonging to the clan meant the clan's master was also my master. Hugo smirked, congratulating me on the successful hunt and granting me the privilege of claiming the monster's corpse. As the highest scorer, I had the opportunity to make a wish. I revealed my wish, to gain access to the 10,000 epistle library. Hugo raised an eyebrow, reminding me of the restricted entry to the library. I expressed my willingness to relinquish the wish if it wasn't allowed, secretly planning to find a way to sneak in. To my surprise, Hugo not only granted permission, but instructed me to read Baskerville's 6th technique, located in the 6th restricted zone of the library. The news startled me, as it was uncommon for an illegitimate child, with the middle name Van, to be allowed beyond the 4th technique. I strived to stay calm and rationalize the situation, considering it was only the 6th technique. Yet, my determination remained unshaken. My goal was clear: to surpass Hugo and obtain the greatest essence of Baskerville, the swordsmanship textbook containing the teachings of the first patriarch who subdued the 7 great disasters. Realizing the value of this opportunity, I bowed and thanked Hugo, knowing he might not comprehend the true worth of the random book he handed over. Nevertheless, I was confident in making the most of this chance. Entering the 10,000 epistle library for the first time, I marveled at its vastness. Browsing through the books on swordsmanship, I couldn't help but read out their names to myself. However, I was well aware that, despite being an illegitimate child of Baskerville, surpassing the 4th technique was a barrier set by the family's defense mechanism to prevent undue rebellion. I reached a section where a book was chained with a lock. Unlocking it, I pondered on Hugo's reasoning, believing an 8-year-old wouldn't memorize its contents in a day. Little did he know that, before my regression, Vikir had already mastered the theories up to the fourth technique, going further to deduce the fifth. A realization struck me. After drawing the fourth tooth, I needed to halt the mana flow to proceed. This might be the reason I couldn't manifest the fifth tooth. Despite the opportunity to delve into the book on the sixth technique, I was indifferent. My real motive for coming to the 10,000 Epistle Library was to reach a stage higher than my current one. As I exited the swordsmanship section, the guards were taken aback. They questioned if I had finished reading so quickly and offered more books from deeper within the library. I dismissed it, knowing that hidden treasures often lurked among dusty miscellaneous books. My eyes lit up as I found a book titled A Lurking Ambush. Though seemingly useless and torn, I knew its true worth. I remembered finding a ripped page from a swordsmanship textbook with Baskerville's handwriting. The missing pages, hidden in A Lurking Ambush, held the key to mastering the techniques. I knew that to others, it might seem like a miscellaneous and incomprehensible book. But, by utilizing the missing pages, this seemingly false information would transform into a masterpiece. I made a vow to reclaim that lost power before turning 15. Deeply engrossed in reading, time seemed to fly. When I finally closed the book, I realized the night had turned into day, proud of myself for memorizing its entire contents.
Memorize? Master, you and me upload and create training simulations of the techniques so that I can remove any wasted movement I found. On top of the muscle memory of Vikir's past life sped up the process.
Standing amidst the absent guardian knights, I acknowledged that drawing 10 teeth with my current body was beyond reach, but I felt confident in unlocking the elusive fifth technique that had eluded Vikir in his past life. Focused and resolute, I faced a statue, wielding my Baskerville sword technique with increasing intensity. Successive strikes echoed the execution of the first, second, third, and finally, the fourth technique. I executed the technique, cutting through the statue with precision. Catching my breath, I marveled at the success of the fifth technique, still trembling with the excitement of drawing the fifth tooth, realizing how far I had come in such a short time. In just 8 years, I had reached a level that took Vikir 30 years. Confident in my new skills, I was determined to master the lurking ambush sword technique, recognizing its potential for seamless transitions between offense and defense. Placing the book near the window, I felt capable of challenging a mid-class graduator and winning with my newfound skills. But to keep my strength concealed from Hugo, I needed to maintain an air of mystery, providing Hugo with something to anticipate. Taking out a magnifying lens, I positioned it carefully near the book. As the sun's rays converged onto the pages, a small fire ignited. With an evil grin, I remarked that destroying the book would impede Hugo and the hounds from reaching the 10th technique, a hurdle I had no intention of facing.
Master, how do you plan to explain the destruction of one of their ancient texts? You're already trolling the patriarch, confusing the butler, and collecting entities like you're gathering tailed beasts. This was supposed to be the revenge of the Iron Bloodhound, but you've turned it into a narrative of how you became the Jinchuriki of the main character. How far do you intend to take this rewrite?
I don't know, but if our viewers hit that subscribe button, they'll find out.
You're going to get us killed.
Not likely, so stop worrying about it. It's not like we're going to run into a kaiju-sized monster, and I'll go all Third Raikage on it.
You're going to get us killed.
Suddenly, the guards who had been nowhere to be seen arrived in the miscellaneous part of the library, drawn by the scent of burning paper. They were startled to find me there and demanded an explanation for the situation. My expression quickly shifted to one of apology as I explained that I had accidentally left the magnifying glass, resulting in the fire. I assured them that I would report the incident to the head butler. Aware of the potential consequences, the guards, after a brief pause, reassured me that there was no need for an apology. They acknowledged it was their responsibility to look after me and expressed relief that the affected area contained only seemingly useless books.
Master, your trolling antics are reaching a level comparable to your brother's, considering the pace you're maintaining.
Well, he did manage to get our dad to almost eat a washcloth, thinking it was ramen during movie night. And let's not forget the time he imitated our mom's voice on the answering machine, leaving a message for herself, which drove her momentarily nuts trying to remember when she left this message for herself and why.
Or the time he got you good with the Scream movie phone call.
Data, shut up about that.